One of the things I'm really passionate the most about in life is people knowing themselves. Me, never losing myself in any situation. Like knowing and being so connected with myself and knowing when I'm not comfortable with something and knowing my true opinion about something and just like being like in touch with who I am as a human being. I'm so passionate about it and I feel like we need to discuss it. So I feel like in the midst of like all of this, there's so much noise, guys. When social media hearing information being pulled left, right, and center every single day, there's war happening here, there's Jada Pinkett happening here that's popping up every second. There's people discussing podcast people disturbing us every day about like what men are supposed to do and what women are supposed to do. There's politics, there's your family disturbing you, there's your friends causing you drama, there's people advertising nonsense to you just because you spoke to somebody about it on the phone and now it's stalking you on Instagram. There's information everywhere. There's your manager disturbing you. I can go on. I can literally go on how much information we're bombarded with every single day. And even, can you tell like I'm very passionate about this? Because I really am. And in the midst of all that information, people are requiring you to have an opinion, say your mind, post it on your story, be an activist, do something. People are requiring you to have an opinion and have a belief and have a stance essentially in every direction. And I just feel like as much as it's easy for people to come on here and be like, know yourself, be true to yourself, a lot of people don't even know how to be true to themselves and how to filter out all the noise. So let's discuss how to filter out the noise in this mess, how to really know yourself and stay true to yourself. Because I'm convinced and I know that if you don't have a stance, if you don't know who you are in this messy world that we live in, you are going to be so lost and so far gone that you just would not be able to find yourself. So before that happens, let's discuss. So number one is, and this is very important, and also this is also hard because my therapist gave me this task and I could not. For months, it took me ages to like, and I still haven't figured it out, but I know some of it. Know your core values. Know your core values. People tell you every time to know your core values because there's a reason why it's a common thing that people say you should know. Your values are essentially guidelines for your life or like little checks for your life. They keep you in check. So for example, one of my value, which I'm still struggling to like articulate what it is, but I would say this conversation with this thing I'm talking about is kind of one of my core values. Like being true to myself is a value, like myself, and like never compromising on who I am to fit into any space. And I'm trying to make sense of it properly, but that's kind of like something that I'm really passionate about and I do not play with. If I'm in a situation where I have to compromise on who I am just to like fit in or to get the job or to get the coins, no. Like it's the same way I would never come on Instagram and like, or social media and like give a review about something that I'm not convinced about, because that shifts me away from what I truly believe in and who is myself, which I consider myself someone that has integrity. So I will never come in here and give you a bad review and tell you to buy something that I don't believe in. Absolutely not. I don't care how much anyone is paying me. And that's because I want to always remain true to myself. And so that is a core value for me. So it always guides me. So if I'm in a relationship, for example, let's use relationship as an example, and I feel like this person may not fully accept me for who I am. Like I'm having to like kind of become a little different person for them to fit into this relationship, to feel accepted, then I already know it's not for me because I'm not living my true self. And that's a value, because if I don't know that that's a value for me, I would be in relationships and like compromise who I am just to be in there. My value checks me. Am I preaching? Somebody say amen. Hallelujah. So yeah. So I feel like in order to like really filter out the noise, one of the most important thing, if you're going to take anything away from this, is figure out your values. Before we move to the next point, can we take a second for my wireless microphone? The girl's upgraded. The one I used to use was like this long wire. They used to get tangled. I used to get tangled in it. It was such a mess. It used to remind me of like this 90s MC. They used to have this long microphones in the event, and you're like jumping over wires just to like not trip over. But yeah, I've upgraded. So hey, check my tea. Okay, I'm so excited today. If you're interested in a microphone, I've done the research for you. You don't have to do it. It's pretty great. Link is in the comment section. Number 2 is be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Take the time to do some introspective work and think about, just take the time to think before you form an opinion and everything. And that thinking and that decision has to come from a place of actual honesty. Not what people expect from you, not what your family wants, not what's expected, not what your friends want, what you want. And that has to come from a place of honesty. You have to be honest with yourself, because if you cannot be honest with you, again, like things are going to push you in different directions that require you to make a decision, require you to form an opinion, but you haven't really thought about it to be able to form your own opinion. So if you cannot, you have to take the time. And I'm not saying the more you do it, the more you're able to be honest with yourself, like the more you do it, the more you're able to be honest with yourself in an instant. But it's good practice to do some introspective work. Sit down, think about it, form your opinion, and let your thinking come from a place of honesty. And in order to do that, you have to form a balance between emotions and logic. You cannot always lean to the extreme end of the spectrum. You have to form a balance of emotions and logic. My cousin gave me an example the other day. I was having a conversation with her, and she basically said whenever she's going through some, like she has to make a tough decision, she puts herself, and this could be helpful for you in order to be like, to practice being honest with yourself and actually thinking about stuff properly, is if you have to make a tough decision, put yourself in the space of someone that you would be honest with, like your best friend or your sister or your brother. Put yourself in their position. If they came to you with that situation and they require your complete honesty, and you will be honest with them because you love them, what would you say to them? Put yourself in that space. What honest truth would you say to this person? And that's sometimes how you can help yourself become like really truthful to yourself. Whatever you say to them, whatever you think you're going to say to them in that space, that's true. Apply them to your life and go make that decision. So that could really help somebody. Number 3 is kind of like being honest with yourself, but it's learn to think for yourself. And this one touches me in ways that I just cannot. In ways that I cannot explain to you. Because a lot of people do not actually think. A lot of people do not think. We don't use our heads. We allow people to form opinions for us, and then we jump on the bandwagon of whatever is trendy, whatever is happening. Learn to use your own head. And in order to do that, do some research. Let's say there's a debate happening. Whatever is happening, go and do some research about it. Find out the backstory. Look at the history behind something. Before you start posting things on Instagram, talk about, I support this, I support that. Go and do your research, get some understanding, and then form your opinion. Stop consuming information mindlessly. Stop letting people form their opinion and then putting that onto you. Go and think. This means this one I'm so passionate about, because people are not using their heads anymore. News is telling us what to believe. Social media is telling us what to believe. People around us are telling us to believe. And we are not doing any research. We're just mindlessly consuming people's opinions and regurgitating them. Go and do your research and think before you form an opinion. Please. The next one is, and this kind of are all kind of connected, all of this point is, choose your battles wisely. Choose your battles wisely. Please choose. You cannot be for or against everything that's happening on social media. What do you actually believe in? Because let me use Instagram story. 1 minute you're posting about this movement. The next minute you're posting Jada Pinkett and you're this and this. Next minute you're posting about relationship and men and all this and women all this. Next minute you're posting about this thing that's trending. Like, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? You cannot be on every trend. You cannot have an opinion on it. Say your opinions. And the problem is a lot of us feel like we have to have an opinion on every single matter that's happening on social media. You don't. Choose your battle wisely. Because if you put your energy into everything, what do you really stand for? The things that genuinely do matter to you, they kind of fade into the background because you're standing and you're talking about every single thing. You do not have to have an opinion on everything that's trendy on social media. You don't. Choose your battle wisely. Figure out the things that are actually meaningful to you, that you're passionate about, you want to talk about. Okay, this person did this. I probably want to have my opinion about this. Okay, this happened. Okay, maybe I want to talk about this, but it can't be everything. And the last one is silence the doubt in your mind. Because in the journey of getting to know yourself, in the journey of being true to yourself and knowing yourself, there will be doubts. There will be times in your head where your mind is telling you, no one cares that that's your opinion, or your family isn't going to agree with that, or maybe there will be like different questions popping up in your mind because it's not necessarily something you're used to doing or doing the work to really know yourself. But quiet the doubt in your mind and focus on the part of you that it's so important to know yourself. It's so important to quieten the noise. Is quieten a word? Now it is. It's so important because otherwise you will literally fall for anything. And there's that saying that if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. I think that's the saying. And it's true. And it's more evident today than ever, because if you don't know yourself enough, you will believe everything people are telling you. You will take on people's opinions. You take on people's trauma. And people's opinions come out of their experiences, their traumas. And you're going to take on someone's trauma just because you didn't take the time to know yourself and to figure out what's important to you. And a good example of that is relationship. There's so many toxic people giving opinions on social media about relationship, about their experience, because it's their truth. And if they come up with that opinion, it's coming from their place of truth. And because someone's told you women are trash, or someone's told you men are trash, is that your reality? Is that your reality? Or you're just regurgitating somebody's opinion? Take the time to know yourself and life will be so much easier. Life will be so much simpler, honestly. Anyways, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.